Eclipse season can be very intense, very challenging for us as adults. But they can also be very challenging for our children, especially if you have sensitive kids. Kids who feel the world's emotions as if they were their own. In this video, I want to give you 7 different pointers, some tips and tools that I use with my children and that I hope might make this a little bit easier for you and your children to navigate this eclipse season portal that we are entering. My name is Chrissy Whistler. I'm an evolutionary astrologer. I'm an intuitive, a channel, and as I said, I'm also a parent. I am a parent of 2 multi-dimensional magical kids, and really learning and understanding how they are sensitive has been huge in helping them just to be here in this world, and as challenging as it can be. Now, these eclipse energies can have a huge impact on our kids. You might have one like me who these energies, he moves around like a tornado of movement. He can't stop moving. The energy is so intense and he's doing everything that he can to just ground it and get it out of his system. Whereas my daughter, very emotional. She is so emotional, it is like the drop of a dime and just the floodgates open up. So you might have a child like that, or your child might react to these energies very differently. I would love to know what those are. Please share in the comments below so we can engage and have this conversation. I love learning about children, and I love developing this understanding of their nuances and their differences. So if you feel comfortable, please, I would look forward to reading that. All right, so 7 tips. Okay, the first one is to get out into nature. Okay, this is the time to do that Taurus medicine. To go ground, go take your kids' shoes off and let them go play in the dirt, or go barefoot in the grass. Or if it might be a little too cold for you, so go outside, go play, go get the sun on their face, or garden. Maybe you have a small garden on your patio. This would be a great time to teach them a little bit about that. Or just play in the dirt, you know, like my youngest is just at the point where he doesn't just go and like sniff off all of the flowers or the tomato plants that are growing, you know. You could just have the space to let them do that. I would really recommend it. If you're noticing, wow, these energies are really rough for them right now, go into nature and let her ground you. All right, tip number 2, let your kids move their bodies. Encourage them to move their bodies. Encourage them to shake out that energy, okay? Shake it out. Let it loose, let it loose. Get a rattle, shake off the energy, or get a bottle of vitamins and shake it with them and just play together of shaking. It's like, oh, wow, you're running around like crazy right now. I can tell that you're really uncomfortable. Let's get these bottles. Let's just go for it and shake it, right? Yeah, and just shake it. Let it loose. But definitely encourage you to let your kids move out that energy. And I would also add that your kids are going to be the guides for you on this. I would say most of the times, you know, I don't like to use absolutes when it comes to children, but let your children like guide you on what it is that they need. If you have someone who just needs to go swimming in that pool to get the energy out, go do that. You know, they may not want to go to the playground. That playground environment not be the nature and the movement that they need. So recognize that and be like, oh, this isn't working. Maybe we should go on a hike, or let's go to the pool and see how that goes. But let your kids be your guide. And tip number 3 might actually seem a little bit reversal from tip number 2, but slow down with your life. All right, so let your kids move. Let them do that, but slow down your life. Now, what do I mean by that? If you have a schedule that's packed non-stop with activities and outings and play dates, trim it down, okay? If you notice that your kids are really struggling with these energies, with what the world is going through, just put it down to the bare minimum and focus on that. Focus on what is the priority and just cancel everything else. You know, give yourself that permission. It is okay for you and for your kids to take a step back. Because when we slow down, okay, we can better sit with and process those energies. Scorpio, especially next month in May, very intense, very claustrophobic, very dramatic, digging to the bottom of the barrel, okay? These are the energies that are really going to be in our collective. And if you have sensitive children, they will be feeling that. So give them the space to sit with everything and to be still and to process all that intensity, okay? And then I would encourage you as well to sit with them. Hold that space with them. They need it. And let your children be the guide on how that will work. But if you do go and you look at your list and you only remove like 1 or 2 things from your non-stop day where there's not much time for slowness, I would really ask you and encourage you to go look again and ask yourself what you value most, okay? You see your child struggling with these energies, with this moment. How can you best support them in their needs, right? This is almost survival needs. Survival to be here and to be okay. So don't be afraid to just tell people, no, that's not going to work for us right now. I'm sorry. Tip number 4 that I have is actually going to tie a little bit into tip number 1. And that's using herbal body oils. I use these every day on my children, especially my son. Just kind of even putting it in your hands and rubbing his hands, rubbing his feet. I do that every night before he goes to bed. Getting the ears right here, the neck, and just massaging that in. Oils, because again, plant medicine like this is very soothing, very comforting. If you can get some St. John's wort, it's very good for those sensitive little bodies. It almost acts as like this buffer, a buffer to the sensitivity and the electricity of the world. And lavender, for example, is really good to help sleep. It's for calm and anxiety. So those I highly recommend. You just kind of give it a try. And then you see, does this work for my child? Or does it do nothing? And playing and having that space for that additional connection with them is absolutely beautiful. Tip number 5. I think we're on number 5. But my next tip, whatever number it is actually crystals, okay? Let your children play with crystals. If they're really feeling intense right now with the energies that are coming in, oh my gosh, go give them a rock and let them play with it and watch how intuitively they kind of know what the different crystals do, okay? If you need something that's really grounding, like black tourmaline would be great. If they are just super anxious, you can try some of those darker colored stones, or even like lepidolite, again, to help that anxiety and calm it. But I highly recommend just trying crystals and seeing how your children react to it. I actually have some that are always in my purse for those moments when Eric is really struggling. I can take out this necklace of just a simple stone of black tourmaline and put it on his neck, and he just knows what it does for him, and he just holds it and sucks his thumb and just helps him calm and ground and be centered in his body. So I absolutely recommend you giving it a try. And again, seeing, does this work for your child? And letting them be the guides for you. My next tip is actually for you. My tip is to have you breathe. Slow down and take a breath. When things are really hard and scary and intense, we start to have really short breaths, right? Or we hold our breath, we constrict it, okay? Consciously be aware of your breath. Breathe in deeply. Let it out. If you feel intense, if you feel scared, notice what your breathing is doing. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Watch how that releases your energy and calms you. Now, the reason I say this tip is for you is because your kids, okay, they will learn from you by watching you. You know, it's that old saying, our kids don't learn by what we say, they learn from what we do. So I encourage you to model for them breathing. Deep, conscious breathing. If you have older kids, okay, you're gonna have a lot more like leeway with this. Like you can actually tell them, okay, take a deep breath, breathe in with me, let it out. Okay, let's do it again. Breathe in, let it out. Okay, and you can walk them through that. You can guide them through that. You can tell them. You see how you're noticing your body? It's calming down, right? Take another deep breath. You'll be able to better walk them through that compared to if you have a younger child or a child who is neurodiverse, okay? You may not be able to do that same, which is why I encourage you to do this work, okay? Because they'll learn from you. They will start to breathe with you as you do that. And now before I go on to this last one, tip number 7, I just want to say about breathing and breath work. It takes us back into the present moment, right? It brings us back into our bodies. It takes us out of the fear and out of the worries of the future, okay, which we might really, really be experiencing and feeling collectively as our world shifts and change, okay? Get out of that what if, and come back here. Come back to center through your breath. That is what breathing does. It brings us back into the present and back into our body, right? And that will help you, which will then better help you help your kids, all right? And like I said, you might be able to even teach them some of that if you're able to. And finally, for my last tip, tip number 7, become aware of your child's needs. So technically this one is like another parent tip, not quite a child tip, but for you, okay? You are the expert on your child. You intuitively know in your parent's gut what they need. Tune into that. Trust in that. Go with that. Ask yourself, what does my child need in this moment? My daughter is crying nonstop. What can I do to support her? And maybe that is just going over and sitting next to her and letting her cry. But she's not crying alone. you are giving her your presence, your calm, your love. Look at that. All that Taurus wisdom sitting still and being in that intensity and in that moment. If you've got someone like mine who's a tornado of energy, okay, right? What are his needs in this moment? Well, being here in this 2-bed apartment is not gonna work. We need to get outside where he can go super speed and just let it loose. I need to take him to the ocean where there's no other people and he can just go be wild and wacky and shake it all out. Like, he can just go do his thing and I don't have to worry about anyone else's judgments or opinions. He can just go be him because that is his needs in that moment. So again, like, and I would love to know, please comment below if you feel called, what do your children need? What do they need in this moment? What do they need when they're really upset and struggling and having a hard time? And that they are so sensitive that everything in the world is like in their body and they don't know what's theirs, what's yours, and what's, you know, Aunt Nancy's, you know, like 20 blocks away. And all these tips and tools are going to really help them to manage that and to hold these boundaries, okay? Because when we're small and when you're sensitive, you don't come, you know, pre-programmed with how to do this. We as their parents, their caregivers, their guardians, we're the ones that need to start teaching them this. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you would like more information, if you want to know how these eclipse energies might be affecting your child personally, check out the link below to my website. I offer birth chart readings for individuals and for families and children. And I also offer guided parent calls to help you and your unique magical kids if they are these sensitive beings. And how do you even know how to help them or what to do or what tools would work for them? You know, I've kind of done a lot of that groundwork myself. So if you feel called, like, please let me know and reach out. I will absolutely check in with you and help you on that journey. Please like and subscribe this video. Share it, especially if you have friends and family who have these sensitive kids. Please share this video. Share this message. Help others, like, know, oh, hey, I see your child's having a really hard time in this moment. Let me tell you what's going on. It's eclipse season. How about we just go outside and run around for a while and see how that happens. Thank you so much. If you haven't seen my previous video, I really did a deep dive on these eclipse energies. That is there for you. And until next time, I'll see you later.